The Newfoundland government is hoping to table its budget today after it was delayed by a chaotic fisheries protest. The government filed an injunction against the protesters, and Premier Andrew Furey is warning of arrests, but fish harvesters are back at the Confederation building this morning for another round of protests. And I'm joined this morning by Bailey Howard, a reporter with NTV News in St. John's. Bailey, I can see you there in front of the building. Already quite a crowd gathered of both protesters, and it looks to be security. Can you walk us through what's happening there right now?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Absolutely. It was another early morning here at the Confederation building in St. John's, Newfoundland. The protest started again this morning at around 6 o'clock a.m. And I can just set the scene a little bit for you here behind me, like you mentioned. There are about, at this entrance, I would say 300 to 400 protesters here, which are made up of harvesters and plant workers from across the province. Some have traveled 8 or 10-hour drives to be here for these protests this week. We have behind them, which you may or may not be able to see right now, but there is a full line of tactical police officers wearing, helmets. They have shields. Some were even armed. The folks here yesterday were served with an injunction, the protesters, and so these folks were warned that if they blocked the entrances again this morning that there could be action taken by these police, so they came fully ready for that today, but folks are remaining peaceful here at the moment as they, I guess, await to see what happens with the rest of the day.
Bailey, the protesters are ready, but I imagine that, or police are ready, and I imagine protesters are as well. We saw some of the video yesterday. Things got very heated. I mean, people red in the face and angry and shaking. What's the mood like this morning?
This morning things are a lot, lighter than they were at this time yesterday morning. This was almost 24 hours ago that, we saw some of those instances. Sorry, as you can hear behind me now, some of the staff are trying to arrive now, which they're trying to block from getting into the building. The same happened yesterday, which is when, yes, absolutely. So right now we have some staff trying to enter the building, at which the harvesters are trying to block them from getting in. This is when things began to escalate yesterday morning. You may have seen those videos with the, officers bringing in horses to stomp the crowd and to try to push and break up this crowd of protesters. The protesters this morning say that they're trying to remain peaceful, but they do want to block staff and folks from entering the building, although the government says they will be planning or do plan to go ahead with the delivering of the province's budget today, despite the continuing protests. This is just at one entrance of the building. There are about 5 others that also have crowds, similar to this surrounding the building.
Bailey, if I can get your cameraman to just stay on this footage for us for just a moment, and if you could maybe walk us through, because you're there on the ground. So yesterday we saw the confrontation between staffers and protesters. Police are present there now. Do you have a better sense of what's happening as this staff member tries to get into work today?
Yeah, so right now a police officer is escorting that staff member away, I guess, for their safety. But that person has tried a couple different angles to get into the building right now. That's just one staff person. That's the first one that I've seen try to enter the building through this entrance this morning. I think a lot of other folks maybe were diverted or instructed to try, some of the quieter, different entrances because this was the area that had most of those scenes that you saw yesterday. Yeah. Right now, the protesters, even though they were served this injunction, have backed up right to where the police are and kind of surrounding that part of the building. And they, folks have been yelling throughout the morning that, they were served this injunction, but nothing has happened despite them continuing to do what they did yesterday. It seems like they are in this for the long haul despite what happens.
Bailey, I know this is the time of day that people are usually going to be showing up for work. We sent out a message to Premier Furey's office yesterday. In part, we received a statement back that said, some of the behaviors we saw will not be tolerated by me or our government. We have a budget to deliver. Do you think that budget is going to be delivered today?
Well, we've just received notification that they do plan to go ahead with the provincial budget today inside of this Confederation building. So the plan is for the lock-in this morning to begin at 9:45 a.m. Newfoundland time as opposed to 9 o'clock a.m. So they have a little bit of a delay, and they've instructed media to go to a different entrance to be in the building by 9:30. I guess the question now is if we'll be able to get into the building in time for that lock-in of the budget, because, like I said, this is just one entrance, not the one where media and other guests will be going in for the budget, but others similarly have a lot of protesters blocking those entrances as well, trying to stop folks from getting into the building.
Bailey Howard with NTV. Thanks so much for your coverage this morning. There's a look for you there. What's happening live this morning in St. John's as they attempt to pass their budget for a second day.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.